Guys, and today I'm going to be speaking about relationships again and romance, and especially the subject of power and control in the relationship. So we have all undergone some degree of power and control, and you're very fortunate if you're in a relationship where there's no conscious awareness of power and who's exercising that power in a relationship. But the majority of some have what we call an inequity. In an ideal relationship, there is an equal form of forces coming together that brings it and knits it together and integrates that relationship. However, very often, more often than not, there is inequity where there's a power imbalance, whereby, say, for example, the girl is putting in, or the woman is putting in something like 80% of time, love, trust, affection. The guy is putting in maybe 20%, 25% of maybe affection, very little trust, maybe yes, maybe no, maybe time is at a premium, whatever. Just as an example, that would be an ideal sort of, rather an unideal type of relationship, because what's happening here is that the guy is getting out 80% of all that effort and meaning that the girl is putting into the relationship. But the guy, he's getting that 80%. The girl is getting a raw deal here. She's getting his miserable 20%. So, in fact, that's not a healthy relationship. There is a power imbalance there. Let's look at Meghan Markle, for example, and Harry. There are many others, by the way. There are billions of these around the world. But Meghan and Harry are constantly in the world headlines for various reasons. I'll be talking about that relationship later on. But there is an example of what we call the power and control model. Power over your mate, power over your partner, power over your husband or wife. And this is called competitive power. And competitive power is basically where the male and female are both competing to have power and control, whereby they're the ones in command, like a brigadier almost, telling the other one what to do, where to go, what to decide, what holiday to go on, what colour to paint the horse, what's the cutlery to buy, what type of interior design to have. Now, there is a fine balance here between giving advice and so on, but also being in control, that control force. There is a dynamic here. And so for an unhealthy relationship, then what happens in an unhealthy relationship, either the woman or the guy, it can be either, will, for whatever reason, they will take on control in that relationship. There will be a power model here, a power dynamic. And when you get a power dynamic operating, it is not healthy, because one person feels that they are justified in actually maintaining the power and control in the relationship. And in fact, then the other person, either the woman or the guy, whoever, she's going to feel subjugated. She's got to be the one who's got the receiving end of all this power, and feeling that her self-esteem and her self-worth and all of that dwindles, because the one with the power, it increases over time. The person holding power will never let go. Is, look at me, I'm in front, it's me, it's all about me, it's not about you. I'm controlling here, and you do what I say. So here we get the wonderful Meghan coming out here. Come on, Harry, give me a kiss. We just saw it today, by the way. Invictus Games, there she was, full display, Katy Perry. Come on for a selfie, Katy. Is that the right thing to do? Definitely not. Modesty, she wouldn't know what it means. Humility, never heard of it. So for a healthy relationship, it's about modesty. It's about the depth and intensity of affection gradually building over time, learning from each other, ignoring any formal or conscious attempt to take control in a relationship by discussing at the early stages of romance and saying, look, why don't we have a beautiful relationship here where there is no concept of power, that we're both equal, that we have, I will listen to you, you will listen to me. I will trust you, you will trust me. We know that might be an ideal state, but there has to be this concept of power will destroy, it is toxic to your relationship, where you feel, I've got to dominate. We find sometimes we will get an older person against a younger person, where the older one says, well, okay, I'm more mature, I've got more experience, so I'll lead and guide. Some people, unfortunately, allow that to happen. But what happens is that gathers intensity over time, it gathers momentum over time, and hence the toxicity creeps into the relationship and is ultimately destroyed. I see many couples like this in my mental health work. And so we have a problem here with poisonous toxicity in a relationship, destroying all that is good. And so there is that person who exhibits that part in the relationship. We call this the illusion of power in psychology. It is an illusory because they cannot define reality. They're not sure what reality is. So the person on the subjugating end of the relationship, they're the one who has got to turn around and say, okay, even though I know what reality is, I'm going to defer to you because I am validating what you think is reality, but in fact it's not. But that's a more complex issue, which I'll cover later on in relationships and romance and so on. However, the other thing about this is, let's go for a good, healthy relationship where everyone is happy. And I'll be talking to you more about that later on, possibly today, tomorrow, and this week. So just for starters, have a beautiful day. Hope you get those flowers, get those chocolates, get them early, keep them in the fridge, and get fresh flowers, ones with a beautiful fragrance. Okay, bye.